Hey guys, Super Nintendo here, and welcome to the latest episode of 5 and 5, my comments on 5 video game topics in 5 minutes or less. Let's put 5 minutes on the clock, and begin! Major Nelson's big reveal. Major Nelson, Xbox's spokesman, teased a major update for the Xbox One. What could it be? Well, I think that it could be mixed reality support for the Xbox One. The Xbox One already has the necessary ports for mixed reality, an HDMI port, and a USB 3.0 slot. Given that the mixed reality sets have lower requirements than the Oculus and the Vive, you could see that compatibility added. And this is my best guess since the PSVR is starting to take off in the console realm. Adding this support would be huge for the Xbox since the mixed reality set doesn't require any external cameras for tracking. I wouldn't mind testing out my Samsung Odyssey on it, and that review is coming later this week. Game companies are against DMCA exemptions for abandoned games. So if your game is no longer supported and you're not making any money off of it, chances are if there's a fan base, the DRM on that game is being circumvented by the community, and a lot of companies are actually doing this under the guise of preservation. This is kind of more of the realm of old online games like Star Wars Galaxy, EverQuest, and most recently the World of Warcraft vanilla server. Devs don't really like this because that means someone could potentially make money off of a defunct IP. And there's still a following for these older games, so I can see the frustration on both sides, but ultimately it makes your company look pretty greedy if you're fighting this. Protecting IP is pretty important, but if you're not going to work to maintain that IP, it should become property of the community as a free resource. Are Metacritic scores garbage? It used to be great that all these review scores were in one place and that it would make an aggregate score to determine if a game was overall liked or disliked. But now the reliance on these scores has become so severe that companies are grading performance of the studio based on these scores. Didn't get a 95 or higher? No extra budget. And God help you if your score fell below the 80s. Of course, the user score is another can of worms, as users aren't necessarily fair when it comes down to drama surrounding a game. A game like Battlefront 2 or Metal Gear Survive are clinging to a 1 or 2 when the average critic score is 60 or higher. I don't really pay attention to the score, and it hasn't motivated me to purchase or not purchase a game because of it. If a game looks good, I'll give it an honest score. Metal Gear Survive, is it the last of Konami? Does anybody really care about Konami anymore? Metal Gear Survive came out and it seemed like the last piece out to anyone who remembers the good old days of Contra, Castlevania, Blades of Steel, and Metal Gear Solid from the video game god Hideo Kojima. This probably won't be the last of the Metal Gear series, unfortunately. I think a real killer app is coming and it'll be a mobile card game filled to the brim with microtransactions. I mean, it's not too far off from Survive, including a save slot for $10 extra. It's a pretty bold move for Konami, but they do make a whole bunch of pachinko machines where you're literally tossing money in to play the game. And my final topic, Nintendo Switch games are being sold incomplete. A common trend is starting to brew around Switch games, and that's combo games that are only including one game on the Switch cartridge with the other game available on the eShop. Most recently Bayonetta 1 and 2 and the upcoming Mega Man Legacy 1 and 2. This is pretty concerning for me as a collector because that doesn't really make sense to buy a physical copy when a significant portion of what you're buying is digital. What happens if you lose your Switch? Can you transfer it over? Do I need the cart to play the digital copy, or does it work just like a regular eShop title? I would hope that Nintendo eventually works a solution to fit games on one single cartridge, because 32 gigs on board is going to run out really fast if this practice continues, especially if you can't transfer anything off. So that wraps up this week's 5 and 5. What did you think? Be sure to leave a comment down below, and if you have another topic that you want me to talk about, leave that down below as well. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, please subscribe. I'm Super Nintendo, and I'll see you next time.